over Sanjay. They're not coming, they're broken down and defeated. You are dying while I wait to get started. You are dying while I wait to get started. I always thought that what happened fall out of the sky and push me into a smile. I always thought that what happened fall out of the sky and push me into a smile.
I'm a motherfucking unicorn, but one of one. The vibe being the love and light, then light and one. My karma is interstellar, I live by truth. Fighting evil, my scars are living proof. Protecting you from the storms with all my might. Love me, I will treat you right. You ever cross me, it's the last thing you'll ever do. With my crown of thorns, I'll wreck you. I ain't playing your brain hard, call me insane. Too bad Chris, because Bigfoot knows my name. I'm a messenger of God, with loyalty I serve. Taking out all evil with his holy word. A true Knights Templar, sword in hand. Slice you up, bury you in the sand. I'm a motherfucking unicorn, you'll never find anyone like me. Born in the Bronx, raised in NYC. So listen up, take heed. I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. A true Knights Templar, sword in hand. Slice you up, bury you in the sand. I'm a motherfucking unicorn, you'll never find anyone like me. Born in the Bronx, raised in NYC. So listen up, take heed. I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Hello and welcome to Third Eye Live, now with half the calories. No, actually we have more calories. We have myself and Mark, but we want to bring in our special co-host. He is the owner-operated host of the most, Mr. Naughty himself, Paranormal Ball.
Hi guys, how you doing?
How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing naughty apparently.
Yeah, you're doing naughty, but not as naughty as this monkey right here. So we'll add him to the stage. May change the name on it to Paul at the bottom. But
that was me at our conference.
Yes,
back
there
in
was.
September, yeah.
I remember when I was like, I was just hanging out talking, and all of a sudden I turned around and there you are. And I'm like, I'm not even gonna ask. Yeah, you all laugh, Bigfoot face.
Some people, it's just better off not laughing. I mean, not asking. So whatever.
Yeah, but we have a shop as well on, and I think off of what you're using, even though I do screen printing and branding, which is really kind of weird. We do have a Redbubble account as well, and that's it right there. But we do have underwear with Mark Eddie's logo on it. You can get a Mark logo on your underwear. So
The coffee cup was impressive.
it is pretty impressive, actually. I mean,
Coffee cup has underwear on it.
no, but you probably could get some underwear on it. So,
Okay.
But I thought this was great because you needed somebody. I'm like, just come on the show.
Yeah.
We'll just do it. Well, you stream to you, and I'll stream to me, and then and we all share kind of a lot of hey, kitty cat, a lot of the same audience. So we're going to be bouncing back and forth, and I'll be posting on both.
And normally I go on at 8:30. So I'm just on like an hour and a half earlier tonight. So, and it's going out over on my channel too. So, and again, Brian, thank you so much. I threw up the bat signal that I needed a guest for tonight, and he said, "Hey, why don't we just simulcast something?" Like, hey,
yeah, I mean, why
idea.
not? I think it works out great. And then, I mean, you're branded, and you get the super chats. We get nothing. Melissa, can I have
share
some
them with
more? No.
I'll send you. I tell you what, I'll send you each and Richard a pair of Paranormal Among Us underwear. So there we go.
Thank you very much. That is exactly what we want, and I'll be wearing them March 7th at Emmaus on the benefit. That's all I'm going to be wearing, freezing my underwear off, which is pretty weird. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that event, and hopefully I'll get to see you prior to that.
If you're there Friday night, I'll be there Friday night.
I think so. I'm trying to check out the forecast, but it's the Midwest. Like, wait 2 minutes, it's going to change.
So I looked at the forecast already. High of 71 that day. Yeah. But a 45% chance of rain. But it's more than a week away, so you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I know, because I'm going to report about more snow and ice early this week.
Yeah,
coming up for you guys, which I don't like to fly, folks. Don't like it at all. I'm the biggest baby in the world. I dope myself up with whatever and just throw me on a plane. Yeah. I'm like B.A. Baraka. Some people are great with it. Not me. I don't know about anybody else, but
I don't.
Yep. So and again, like I said, I was talking to Paul earlier, like, just answer questions. There's no, please, thank you. Can I butt in? It's both of us and all three of us. Mark's really the problem. He's the jabber.
Yeah.
Well, let's bring in our guest, Richard Moschella, who is a paranormal investigator, mediumship artist, and author from Beyond the Fray, and a friend of mine. And I was just thankful very much. We're going to move you up to the top square. Welcome to the.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Richard.
How are we doing out there?
Hi. Doing fine. How are you?
Good. In frozen New Jersey, we're having it's crazy out there. There's Chicago. I'm shoveling, and it's full of ice. And,
Did you get hit with the hurricane blizzard thing?
yeah, it was pretty wicked out there, and we're still just like shoveling out. We have nowhere to put this snow, so I look forward to this conversation. It got me in from outside. So.
There you go. You don't want to lift snow, folks. You want to push.
Yeah.
You want to push because that's how you get heart attacks, and we don't want that from anybody. Been there, done that. Don't want to go through that crap again.
No.
Yeah. I checked that off on my bingo card. I'm like, yeah, I'm done with it. But no, Jersey was. I just actually, before we got on the air, there was an Instagram report out of Jersey. They closed the Garden State Parkway at one point because the guy got out of his car and started defecating on the Garden State Parkway.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, it's par for the course. And now there's New Jersey man and not just Florida man. I mean, I've met a Florida man person. I met a guy. He's the one that put the alligator through the drive-through window. And I was like, "Oh, that was you?" No, he's like, "Yeah." I said, "Well, how'd that come about?" Might have been drinking too much. Go figure. And the drive-through ladies were being rude. So I'm like, "Where'd you get the alligator?" And he goes, "I can't tell you." I'm like, "Okay." So he got probation for it. So, but this is gonna be a great show. Something very interesting. I knew of Richard, but never met Richard up until a certain point. We still haven't met, and we shared the same space at one point. So if you remember Ron Iacovetti and Lourdes,
amazing
podcast. They're great. Paul, you really should get them because of the ITC that they do with the transdental
The digital seance.
Yeah, digital seance out of this world. And I'm still like pushing them like, hey, buy another computer so you can run it while also being on. But they were at the New Jersey Paracon one year, a couple of years back. And I was there the year prior. It was actually the first year after COVID, I think. That's what it was.
Yeah, we were all wearing masks, and it was all crazy times.
Before COVID, and they invited us back, but Chris and John said no to us coming back. They invited us, each one of them, you're definitely coming back. And when it came to that, he's like, no, we moved in a different direction. Now, me as a person, you don't get rid of people, you add.
Right.
So you can say, listen, well, you can come back, but we don't need you speaking or whatever. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. But it didn't work out that way. And I had a lot of friends over there, Flip and a bunch of other people. So I knew Ron and Lourdes were there, and I never met Ron at one point either, in person. So I came in and took him by surprise. I'm like, I'm a hugger now. Gave him hugs, and they were cool with it. And then later on, Ron goes, do you know Richard Moschella? I'm like, yeah, I know of. He goes, well, he's asking about you. And I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, well, you came in. We said hello. We were hanging out for a little bit. You left. And then he came in and goes, do you know Brian Bowden? Because I want to talk to him. And they said, he was just here. So it was like two ships.
Passing ships, I guess, It was crazy. But then I finally got a hold of you, and I got you to be in one of my books,
I appreciate it. And let's put those up so everybody can see your books on Beyond the Fray Publishing. Congratulations to all of them. I'm in that UFO one right there, the extraterrestrial and the Hudson Valley one with some really big names in there. And I was blown away by that.
You and Whitley Strieber. I mean, it was great just to talk to the both of you. And, your boots on the ground research in the Hudson Valley. I mean, the whole spectrum that you can cover from the cryptids to, the aliens. I mean, it was just such an in-depth conversation. And I think we talked for over 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
It was so much stuff. I mean, oh my God, I could write in like a huge opus here of just, all these tales from Brian, because one story would go into another story and then into another story. And
I think I've been interviewed by Paul a couple of times, and I think sometimes I have to say, okay, I got to shut up. I'm talking too much, because I do talk too much sometimes.
No,
but sometimes as a podcast host, like, let's go talk. I'm gonna go here and say, do every once in a while. Oh, that's interesting. You love people that talk. BMR, who's in chat, would be like, yeah, these guys talking. But I had someone that wanted to interview me, and they said, how do you get, I don't know how to interview you. I'd love you on my show. I said, throw me some dates. I'm nobody special. Even if I was, I don't know, whatever the next flavor for the paranormal world, and I'm making killing, which means Paul would be on the show, and Mark, and you'd be on the show. We'd all be on because that's how I roll. But they asked me one question, which was a loaded question, because there's more information in there to give an answer. And I went from point A to B to C to D to E to whatever. And the guy goes, well, I have no more questions. You just answered 25 of them.
Gotta love it.
Yeah. But, I never got the chance to interview you, and we don't really do interviews. Just so everybody knows, hey, Mickey, welcome to the broadcast. And Pamela, we kind of shoot the shit as if we're in Paul's basement or my basement, or I don't have a basement in Florida, and we're just hanging out, like, if we were crack the beer or whatever it is, and we're just, like, who are you and what do you do? And that's what we're going to start with. Like, if you can give the audience a bio on you, a little brief one, then we'll get into some questions, and keep the questions caps. We'll star them, and then we'll ask them at the end of the broadcast.
Cool. Yeah, I was that kid. I grew up in the 1980s, so I was always interested in the paranormal. I watched those shows like In Search Of, and all those ancient mystery shows on the Discovery and History channels, and sightings in the early 90s. And I just loved every aspect of the paranormal. I wanted to know everything about it. And the other side of the coin was I grew up in a paranormal family where they would share stories of ghosts and talking to the dead. So my family always embraced the ability to talk about mediumship and psychic impressions that my grandmother would get. So it was a double-edged. I had the early interest in it. I had a family that embraced it, and my grandmother, my father's side of the family, I was able to talk to them about things that I started feeling and sensing, and embracing that ability. So I learned as much as I can. I went to the library because we didn't have Google back then or any searching devices. If you wanted to know about Roswell or Strieber's books, you would go to the library and find that darkened corner that was the paranormal section and read. So not only was I reading about paranormal things, I wanted to know about the metaphysics. I wanted to learn about mediumship and psychic abilities and how energy works. So I would take those books out, and it's just never stopped. I've always just kept enhancing, my knowledge on the subject matter. Once I got out of high school in the late 2000s, I started taking mediumship classes and sitting in mediumship circles with these spiritual churches that are out there that embrace people coming in and giving them the tools that they need to sharpen their ability to communicate with the spirit world. And not only just stopping at that, but also continuing my investigation of the paranormal, bringing my mediumship and my psychic ability into these investigations, and sketching spirit. When I see spirit at a location, I put them on paper. I'll have sketches. I'll have things that make up their life on there. So that's where my mediumship spirit art came in. Clairvoyance, right? We're able to see in our mind's eye. Well, I put that mind's eye picture down on paper, and I captured the essence of the communicator. So I did that. So I implement that in my investigations. And I've interviewed people from the extraterrestrial, knowledge all the way to, ghosts, cryptid creatures. I mean, it's just, I'm really living what I wanted to live as a kid. I wanted to be like Fox, Mulder from the X-Files and investigate these crazy stories and encounters. And I had a lot myself while I've been doing this. So it's just been a fun ride.
Richard, was what you were just saying about capturing the essence of the community, is that a little bit like profiling?
A little bit. As they come forward, I'll go to a location, or if I'm doing a private reading for someone, I'll say, spirit come close, spirit come close. And I kind of center myself, and the images start flooding in. And it's a life. I'll see things they did. If they were a veteran, all of a sudden I'm on a ship and I see water, I see an American flag go up. I want to talk about battleship. I want to talk about going into the hulls and fixing the pipes. And then all of a sudden they'll present their hands. I'll see they're well worked. If they weren't well worked, sometimes I'll see that they dealt with papers. And then I capture that likeness, how they're presenting themselves to me. Did they wear glasses? What kind of face do they have? And it's just putting that down on paper. And this is just like an example. You'll see, the woman, she's a little heavier set. She has glasses on. And then I'll get what she suffered. Towards the end, I'll want to talk about, I see her having issues with legs, issues with moving, people coming to take care of her, and different things that make up her life. She'll show me things that meant something to her. And this is also, if anyone does mediumship or psychic, these symbols come into our mind's eye, the symbolism of the spirit world, right? So I'll start seeing a cuckoo clock. I'll see a bracelet made out of pearl. And this is where the evidence-based information, when you learn mediumship, becomes so important, because anybody could do loosey-goosey readings and say, Dad's here and he loves you. Mm-hmm. But what about Dad? What was it? Was he strict? Did he have a different relationship with you than he did with your brother? Let's bring that forward. Let's work on it. If we have that connection with Dad, we should be able to get this information, and then have them show items that really meant something to them, relationships that meant something, dates, and things they love to do, their hobbies, and then regrets, because a lot of times things weren't fixed on the earth plane. And this is where the healing comes in to the mediumship readings. What we can bring forth, if there's an apology, if there's a thank you. A lot of this stuff sometimes revolves around putting someone into care, where they got plucked out of their house and they might have been on the earth plane angry about it, but once they're across the veil, they understand why that happened, Right. So there's a lot of things that we can do, and I always strive for the evidence-based mediumship reading. And if something feels like it's too loosey-goosey, I always tell people, if you're having a reading and they tell you that mom's here, she has roses, and she says she loves you, work on that. Work on the information that's coming forward. And when I can present that with a sketch of who I'm seeing, that's just another tool that I can do to relay the imagery that I'm seeing from the spirit world, if that makes sense.
That's pretty interesting. And also want to ask how much you're paying Ron Iacovetti at this point.
Ron?
I'm only joking. I've yet to see you with Ron and Lourdes. And when you guys do these things, I want to desperately get to Sterling Mine, because that place always, I've driven past it on a way to do a golf outing for children's cancer. That's what we do, as I'm a Freemason in New Jersey.
Yeah.
All we do is raise money. And some of the guys play pool and drink, but it's all about charity and whatever. But I've passed Sterling Mine numerous times, and it's got to be a crazy place to do it. But in that picture, and no disrespect to the lady there, for a split second, I thought I was looking at our favorite English spy. It's in that image. But I'll let you guys go, Paul.
Richard, one thing that I was looking at your website today, and I was looking at all those pictures that you drew, and they're right next to the actual person.
Yes.
And they're very, very accurate. And this is exactly what you're seeing from these spirits, correct?
Correct. I don't see any of those personal photos until after the reading happens.
So how blown away is the family members when you show them that, this is the person that I was talking to? I mean, like you said, anybody can say, I was talking to Uncle Frank or whoever, and then, sure. But then you show the picture and like, oh, really?
Yeah, it touches them. I mean, you see, the reaction in their face, not only from the evidence that's presented in it, but when you could turn that over and you capture the essence of Dad. And sometimes it's not Dad when he died, it's Dad when he was in the Army. It was a more happier time. It's when he was healthier. Sometimes when I turn that picture over, it's Mom having a little bit of vanity and saying like she wanted to have her earrings in, and she passed maybe and she didn't have hair, and it's her with a full head of hair, and it looks like her wedding photo. So it even means more to the people when I pass it over to them, and it's a part of their life, where they like, I even have a photo, and this was a great story. I turn a photo over, and a mother and father wanted to be on the same sketch. Mom's a little lower, Dad's a little taller, he's wearing this suit jacket, and Mom has these big, like kind of like 50s kind of glasses. I said, this is how the picture looks like. And they're kind of like this in it. And he has his hand over her shoulder. So I sketched it. She has that photo on her dresser.
That's cool.
So there's no way. I mean, I literally was in her bedroom looking at this photo, and this is what they're showing me. So it's spirit. I feel that we are a conduit to the spirit world. And if you're really good and you show up for spirit, they'll show up for you.
Yeah.
And I give them full credit for working with me, because I have no formal art training. This is all stuff that I taught myself as I was going along. I went to Michael's and read books on sketching, when I wanted to start kind of getting a little better at it instead of like these stick figures. So I started, if I could convey the essence, and that's through what I do right now, I mean, that hits home, and that's what these readings are about.
And, Brian had a reading on me one time with the God's Helmet, Brian.
Oh, yeah.
And with my grandfather and father that came through. And, I believe Brian 100%. Even without a sketch. But, if something like that would happen, I'm putting me into account here. If something like that would have happened, if he would have been there, and if he would have drawn a picture of my grandfather or my father, I mean, I lost it as it was that night, but I think I would have just been, no good the rest of the week. That's just incredible. I really do like that and respect that. That's pretty cool.
I will tell you that as with having these abilities, and when I was doing it that night, that was not my intention. My intention was, I'm going to watch BMR on the show. And you guys were over there at the VIM, right?
At Arcadia.
Arcadia.
Academy in
And
Arcadia.
I just started getting stuff left and right. And the way it works, I get it in my mind's eye as I'm seeing it. Like I'm watching a movie and I've seen it 1,000 times. And what's interesting is you just know information that you're like, I question this all the time when we do this. Because like, how the hell am I knowing this? And I'm answering questions, but I knew. That's why I stopped Paul before he put on the God helmet. I said, stop. Don't put this on yet. I want you to breathe in through your nose. I wanted you to get some air in there because this is going to be, I knew there was going to be an overwhelming experience.
Yeah.
And the first person, I technically saw your grandfather first, who was seated right opposite you. And then what I saw of your dad, it's what a dad would do. Well, you see on TV in life. My dad never really did it personally, but I knew it was your dad, and he just put your hand on your shoulder, and I think at the same time I was saying, he goes, I feel a hand on my shoulder. I'm like, there you go.
And he never did that to me when he was alive. I mean, maybe for a picture for my wedding or something like that, but he never did that either. So I mean, that's just not a natural thing that he would have done. But yeah, I mean, it hit home, and I can just imagine doing readings for other people in their house or whatever, wherever it is you do these readings for them, that when that comes through, how just emotional and how special that is to them.
Oh yeah,
you
can tell from it,
There's one client that I had. She drove to the office that I work out of, and I'm literally driving there on a highway. I'm on Route 80, and a bag of pierogies in my mind's eye drops down in front of my mind's eye. My last name's Moschella. I'm not thinking about pierogies on my way home from work. So as I'm driving to the office, I know this is immediately for my client, so I put that aside, and it's coming through with a woman. So we go through the reading and we touch on many things about her life, and her mother, of course, comes through. I go, Mom is showing me a bag of frozen pierogies. What's up with that? She goes, my sister and I were joking last night. She knew I was coming here, and we said if Mom could give us a pierogi recipe, that would be amazing. Well, I'm like, well, she knows you're buying the frozen stuff, so start making real, start making the real pierogies.
Homemade.
Yeah. So she's like, amazing. And that's just how quick the spirit world works. Yep. They knew that she was coming. She knew that I was doing the reading, and the bag of pierogies comes into my mind's eye. And I think this happens with a lot of people. I think they just pass it off as, oh, it's my imagination or I'm daydreaming. But I think this happens a lot to people out there where their psychic abilities, their mediumship abilities, I feel like we all have it. It's just learning how it works, learning how to use it. And some of us get good at using it. But, that just dropped down, and I knew that was for my client. And that's how fast the spirit world works. So I tell everybody out there, talk to your loved ones, ask for signs. They're going to give them to you.
You can also ask for help, right?
What's that?
You can also ask for help.
Guidance.
It's. I want to get back to something with your family that you mentioned, which I wasn't aware of technically, but I was having a rough time bunch of months back, and it was one of those moments where I really missed my dad. Not that he was always there, but he was in other ways. And I'm sitting there, and the psychic for our group, Cindy Bailey Dove, she's out in Arkansas, and she told me about when my dad died. She goes, your dad's here, and she's telling me, and he's talking to me, and I was like, I smiled because Cindy's a very good looking woman. Okay. And she goes, he knew he couldn't get, you don't go to sleep. That's when he's going to get to you, but you stay up. So he came to talk to me. I said, he came to talk to you because you're hot. That's the reason he's targeting you. And she, I made her laugh and stuff, but she's like a sister to me. And then fairly recently, she told me that my father was one of my guardian angels. He's going to be a guardian angel. And I was like, oh, fuck. Because I got to be honest, as far as, look, as parents, we're all doing it. We're all parents. Mark has kids he doesn't even know he has yet. But, I hope so, Mark. But you know what it is? You do the best you can.
They're spunky.
there's spunky in the background, but you do the best you can as a parent. There's no, unless you had a really great family life, there's not necessarily the best playbook. It's baptism by fire.
Yeah.
So you do what you did, and I didn't have the best. My dad was always working, mother not good. So I kind of modeled it after my grandmother was more like a mother to me, and without the separate bed sleeping thing. At one point, whatever. But that man is now my guardian, one of my guardians. I'm like, oh, Madon, it's like Jesus, one of those things. So I'm sitting out back, but it was one of those things where I really could just use something of my dad, like something I missed. If I had a migraine, we were talking, I used to get them.
Mm-hmm.
I can go into my dad and go, I need a treatment. And he literally rubbed my neck and, do you think this is what you do as dads? You kind of play with their head. Any moment after a certain age, you get to give them a hug or touch them without them getting pissed off.
Yeah.
You take every moment you can get because it's usually attitude after that.
Exactly.
And I'm sitting there and both my neighbors out back, I'm sitting out back and none of them smoke. And I didn't smoke. I haven't smoked a cigar in forever. And I smelled cigar smoke. And I'm like, holy crap, my dad's here.
Mm-hmm.
That was his way of saying it, And when I was talking to her, our psychic, and I said, son of a bitch, no, he can't be my guardian. No, I want a new one. I literally saw my dad laughing and I heard him without hearing his voice saying, no, I promise you, I'm different now. And which is, I hope so, Dad, because we're talking about life here, folks.
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw, one of the things I saw with Paul's family, I mean, like I literally, sometimes it's very clinical. I don't feel it. I said, this is who it is. And they know you can do better, whatever it is. With that father and grandfather, I literally felt the love and the joy. It's kind of weird. I started getting emotional about it. I was tearing up on my back patio.
Mm-hmm. And
because I felt all of you. But you said you came from a paranormal family, Richard.
Yes.
So, like, how did that work out? Like, who is the, because who is the parent? Who were the psychics? Was it male, female, both?
It was my dad's side of the family.
Your dad?
My dad's side of the family was his mother, so my grandmother, his aunts. He would talk about these seances that they would have in their apartment in Hudson County, and he would be in the room, and he said the curtains would start moving, the temperature would go down, and he said, it was just so freaky. He would run out of the room. He remembers his aunt being upstairs, sick on her deathbed, and hearing voices talking. And he had to bring her something. So he knocks on the door. She was the only one inside the room when the door opened.
That's crazy.
And he heard a conversation happening. So it was all these little stories, right, that would cause these sleepless nights I would hear. And as I started getting like 6, 7 years old, I remember starting to feel spirit. I would be in bed at night and feel the comforter kind of get pushed down as if someone was leaning over me. And I just putting the sheet up like over my head going, please go away. And again, just all these moments that I could chalk up throughout childhood of just spirit coming close and not being really ready to accept it and trying to block it out, as the best that I could. But just all these little stories from my father's side. My grandmother saw her mother come, to her, full like apparition, reached out to grab her, and she said she felt her being cold and clammy. And it woke up everyone in the house, and she was holding on to an invisible arm. Just stories that would make any 8 or 9-year-old pee their pants.
Wow.
So yeah, it was my father's side of the family. My mom's side of the family probably thought his family was nuts.
Yeah. I can just picture that introduction and this is my girlfriend. Kidding. My parents are crazy. Let's go.
Yeah.
I find that fascinating that your parents would talk about that stuff, because a lot of people that I interview about our age, they didn't have that kind of interaction. And if the sibling or the son or whoever would bring it up to the parents, oh no, that's not real. You don't know, that's just a light in the sky. That's not UFO. There's an airplane.
No, they fully accepted it, and they would be watching the In Search of with me and Ancient
Wow, that's
Mysteries
cool.
and the sightings when it aired. And, we would be talking about the different cases, whether it was alien abduction or ghosts or
Hmm.
it was cool to have that, instead of being like, oh, this is stupid stuff, you shouldn't be watching this.
Yeah.
They totally like embraced it, and it was good. I got very lucky.
It's pretty cool when you have someone that understands what you're going through.
Hmm.
And doesn't chastise you for exploring your gifts and abilities. Did you have that, like when you were a kid, you knew things in advance of it happening?
Yeah,
And
I would
you're like,
have like visions of like, things like to come. Or one time I was fishing and and I'm fishing in the spring, and I just felt flowers like a funeral home. I'm like, I smell a funeral home kind of flowers where it's just heavy. And I'm like, is somebody going to die? Like a few days later, one of my mom's uncles passes away.
yeah,
So it was like, that's how it works. And then I would have dreams, and I would see my grandmother in a casket, and I would know the flow of the funeral parlor. And I'm like, you're going to make a turn here and then left. The casket would be on the wall. It happens the same layout as it was in my dream. So there's a lot of nudges like that throughout my life. I've learned how to, trust them. I think that's a huge thing for anyone who's evolving and learning their psychic abilities is to trust what's coming. But yeah, there's too many to mention.
yeah.
You know,
Go ahead, Paul.
it's funny you mentioned the funeral things, because a couple months ago, if anybody's Catholic or whatever, when at a funeral they play on Eagle's Wings, and I had that song stuck in my head, and I hadn't heard that song in years, and I'm like, why? And I kind of knew about that. I'm like, okay. So I'm just I told my wife and my son and everybody around me, just be careful. I don't know what's going to happen. Just be careful. I got this weird song in my head. Just, nothing happened. And sure enough, somebody's mother died or something like that. But yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
I personally think Paul has a lot more abilities. And I think when you get involved in this field,
I do too.
yeah, I think you have tremendous amount of abilities. And also he also, you're getting, and we're having little buzzes here and there. I'm hearing them on the headphones. I marked one at 20 minutes and change, but and I heard it again. Now I thought it was when I was posting, because sometimes I'm posting on my cell phone, but it's not hooked up to anything and it's not affecting this. So, and then I think Shelley was saying something about when we talked, Paul, things were happening.
What are the buzzes?
Yeah. Okay. So I wasn't the only one, and thank God. And it's not this medication I'm taking. No, only joking. This is vitamins. But have you, when you started doing this, Richard, your development of your craft and your abilities, have you begot other abilities? And can you give us an example? Like, you started off doing one thing, seeing these things, and then now you have another one of the abilities. I don't care. Don't take this the wrong way. I don't care when people say, well, I have all the Claires. I'm like, Claire can have her own shit. I don't care what you want to call it. Pardon the expression.
No, I totally.
I don't get technical with that, because I think when you get well, I have all the Claires, you're trying to promote something, because I don't think you're really up to par with really what you have.
You'll get people talk about their clairaudience, their sentience. I just call it your psychic senses, your mediumship senses. Spirit uses you as a tool. So if they could give you a smell like the cigar, that brings you right there. You're thinking of Dad. So Spirit would use that. That's an easy way for them to be like, Dad is close. If there's a strong perfume that Mom would have wore, they would use that to kind of bring forth a message that they're around you. Symbolism. There's also knowing. There's that gut feeling that we all get, that we say, I had a gut feeling that I shouldn't have gone to work. Well, get gut out of the way. You had an intuitive knowing that you shouldn't have gone into work today. Okay. So that is a trust that you have. When you wake up, you have that knowing that something isn't right and you're not going to go in that way. Or you meet somebody and you had a gut feeling about them. throw gut away. You had an intuitive knowing that this person was a bad person, a good person. So it's just learning to trust these things, trusting hearing. Sometimes you'll be somewhere and you'll hear something. You might hear a song play that's not really playing in the room, or you might hear somebody whisper something to you. Some people hear clicking or even a buzz. And that could also be spirit's way of coming in. So just start trusting your psychic senses. I mean, for me, they communicate in a lot of different ways. And it's not just visual. I'll be doing a reading and sketching mom, and all of a sudden her perfume comes through. And I'm like, I need to talk about this potent perfume that just stinks. Yeah, mom would put too much, and then that would be a whole nother story. Or dad's coming through, and I almost want to say, like, I could taste like scotch. I could just taste it. And he was a big scotch drinker, and that's another piece of evidence that comes forward. So they use every ability that they can to get you, to prompt you to talk about things that they did in life. So yes, the clairs, if you want to call them clairs, but it's your psychic senses.
You're muted, Brian.
I am muted. Yeah, no. It's just I'm trying to hit both chats at the same time. Okay, so please,
I'm confused too. I mean,
yeah, it gets
going on,
busy at this point because we're running it too. And I wish it really was it is almost universal, but it's not. So like one of the things that I had a friend that lived in Hackensack, and I met him. His name was Rob, and I can't go into the other details because of family members, information. So I just had to do this because I just get great show, Paul, on his chat because he gets super chats. And we, during the COVID event, we would talk about so many different things. We would talk for hours, and it'd start out like almost like, hey, how's it going, to some politics, the good, the bad, what we're seeing. Then we get into some religious belief. He started to get more religious during COVID because he started having these really weird dreams that were very real. And one of them was he was in this darkness and he was surrounded by fire. So during the COVID event, most people, it really did psychologically affect people because it's the first time we've really been locked away. And if you live in a house, at least you can stand outside your front door, open the door. I lived in an apartment building. So did him. And so we would talk about things, and we were working on him. When he would sit, he was telling when he was praying, he'd feel vibration, and like he felt this feeling, and just before it kind of engulfed him, he'd get scared and break away. And I said, no, you don't want to do that. You're trying to connect brain, body, mind, heart, soul. That is actually good. Let it complete you. And he didn't understand it because when you're taught with the good book, which I'm sure you may have grown up with the Bible, and I don't know if both Mark and Paul had, a lot more religion in their lives. What we do is totally on the opposite side of that spectrum for people. But in the long run, basically, it was really weird. The last time I talked to him was he got sick. And he had lesions on his spine, his brain, and his lungs. And he was 43 years old. And it was a Wednesday. I remember it like it was yesterday, early 7:00 in the evening. And he said, I'm really scared. And I said, well, just you'll be fine. Put your faith in God. And he did. And then about 10:00 that night, as I was walking out of my railroad kitchen, everybody else is sleeping in my Bronx apartment. I'm going to make the turn to go to the restroom, and he was standing there and smiling at me. And I, to the point where I had to stop and turn. That's how clear it was. So I go to the restroom. Yeah, it was weird. And I said, he died. I know he died. Fast forward a couple of days that Friday, get a phone call from a Connecticut number. I'm not big on answering numbers I don't know. Right. So if you want to give me a lot of money one day and you're going to call me and I don't know who you are, I'm going to lose out on that deal. But something said, your intuition, your ability, you need to pick up this phone call. And it was his sister. And she told me about Rob passing Wednesday night about 10:00, it gels with. And I think he was there because we were really close. We met at work. He was like 7, 8 years younger than me, but we were on the point with each other. Just good guys. You know, it's very hard to meet good people like Paul and Mark when he's not doing drugs, and some of the other misfits. No, I'm only joking, Mark. I'm just gonna fuck with Mark. But it's really hard to meet people. You know, you're a great guy. Ron and Loris, I mean, if they're still watching, we all know that Loris is really the brains in everything of the operation. Only joking.
Of course.
We know this. Okay.
I love Lourdes.
That's all I'm going to say. So, but it's hard to meet people. When you meet these people, you should treasure everybody. I mean, everybody that comes into our chat and their chat, and I'm friends with a lot of different people in chat. Believe it or not, even though I may not have met you personally, I treasure you as a person because you've been consistent. You're wonderful people, and I appreciate you. And I know Paul does, the Blondes and Blues do, all of them. Don, every one of these little this I call it the network that these guys are in. We're not in it. We're in our own. It's like that Mel Brooks where we're making our own circle. No, but we're very close to them, and it's hard to make friends like that. So fast forward about a year after he died, we used to talk all the time, and I was missing that talk. And I'm coming in, my kids are working in a summer day camp in Westchester, New York. I'm by myself, and I'm like, he just came to mind, and I was like, I literally said out loud, "Damn, you know, Rob, I really miss you, man. I hope you're okay." And I heard, "Yeah, I'm doing good." And it was his voice, and I'm like, "Okay, wow. I'm hearing that." And I'm like, he's like, "No, you're not." And I'm like, "You're here, aren't you?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm having a conversation with you." He goes, "Yeah." And I'm hearing this, Rich. And so I'm like, "Cool. I'm glad I miss you, buddy." He goes, "I'll be okay. You know, we'll check in every once." I said, "Okay, no problem." Never have. I mean, I've heard this before. I hear my name being called sometimes. I don't know if Paul or Mark has done it, or even you. Like you'll be doing something, I'm like, Richard. You hear it.
Yeah.
It's audible. So I go and call a friend of mine that doesn't talk to me anymore out of Canada. And I said, "This is what happened." And they go, "Oh my God, you have Claire audio." And I said, "I don't know who Claire is, but you can keep her fucking audio." Because to be honest, that was just, but yeah, it's it's really all these new little, like, oh, new power unlocked. This is a really weird video game, and I'm the focus of it. Just like Paul, you'd be the focus of yours. That was a little bit unnerving for it, but it does come in handy. I mean, when you hear something, when you sit, you're thinking of mom, or you smell her perfume or grandma's perfume, and you just know.
Yeah.
So all these, everybody out there, don't let anybody say, I don't even know who Robert is, but welcome to the broadcast, if he's on ours or yours. But do you ever tell people to, don't ignore these things when you're doing your readings and you're doing your gallery stuff, because you do a lot of public appearances, if I'm correct?
Yeah, big readings for restaurants, and then we do just those private appointments with it's a 1-to-1, or we're doing it through Zoom, But I tell everybody to embrace the signs, make things hard. I think that's another thing that the spirit world wants is, don't make a sign just a cardinal, right? Because cardinals are all over the place. They're over marketed. So,
you're a PR agent.
Yeah. And I said to, I did a big event and I'm talking to the crowd. I go, make it a walrus. Okay. Make it a walrus. I get in my car to go home from work the following day. I am the walrus from the Beatles, right on the chorus. I am the walrus. I mean, boom, right?
I thought you were going to say you saw a walrus on your drive home. Oh, yeah.
I work in Hackensack, so there's no walrus in Hackensack.
Yeah. But, that's really cool.
Yeah. So
make it a walrus. That's
so make the signs hard. Make them special for that person. Make it something so so when it hits you, it's like, wow, this really came from somewhere. Don't make it a cardinal. I mean, even though they're the symbol of spirit and our communication with those on the other side in heaven, but make it a little more hard so when it comes through, it really hits you.
Yeah, I mean, Paul likes cardinals, St. Louis.
St. Louis Cardinals, yeah.
Louis Cardinals.
Yeah.
I'm a Red Sox fan, so.
Well, here's
And
okay.
just when I thought I could like you, Richard, come
Oh,
on.
Yeah.
sorry.
But not everybody. No.
Back,
I'm
right
out.
there on my wall is all Red Sox memorabilia.
This is great, and I think I said it before on one of the other shows. I was just at opening day spring training.
Mm-hmm.
It was Washington Nationals playing against Miami Marlins, but Miami Stadium and the St. Louis Cardinals Stadium is the same stadium.
Yep.
So when I turned over and I saw that, I immediately thought of Paul right off the bat, and Brandy and Krista and everybody, because it's Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going there on the 5th. I'm flying out to go there for a benefit and some other stuff there. And then I saw Busch beer, so Busch Light beer in the background. I thought of BMR, and it's just, there is no coincidences in here, but I love the walrus aspect. Mark,
Yeah.
what is going to be your tell? Like, what would you ask for, Mark? Like, as a sign? Yeah, but sign.
Like pterodactyl.
So one of those leaving Georgia, entering Georgia a couple of weeks. Actually, from that conference.
I don't know. Maybe something a little bit more realistic could be a beaver.
A beaver, that would be interesting.
Or
Depends on what
cougar.
kind of beaver you're talking about.
Yeah, because Mr. Naughty's to the other side of you. You're the dancing monkey again. It's
say that.
Well,
Come
it's
out of my mouth.
interesting that you mentioned Cardinals. I want to see the Cardinals. St. Louis Cardinals. Do you see where there's no coincidences here?
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell you also, and you're right, because depending on where you are in the world, Cardinals are very prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, he was something really strange. I forgot what it was. I was, again, in my New York City apartment. I was they were all working, my kids and whatever in this camp and doing their thing. So I'm free for a little bit. I was going out to Jersey to a lodge, but I was thinking of stopping off I was thinking about my dad who passed away, but I'm also thinking about my grandmother who passed away. And you can see out at the exit of the long hallway of my apartment building, there's a big window, and you can see out there, and I see a cardinal, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting, because I know the association. And I opened the door, and the cardinal moved over to the right, and so I started walking. I was looking for it. It started flying ahead of me and keeping pace with me flying. It landed on my freaking car.
Wow.
Now that's
a sign.
Yeah.
That's not like so. And another thing is, if I see black cats go across my path, I will gamble. Always produce money for me. This is where superstitions. Did you have superstitions that go along with some of the paranormal stuff, or no? Does anybody?
Not really.
Superstitions. No, I mean, there's ways that sometimes the symbolism came in different ways. Where I was asking, I said, a while back, I said, can you send me a cardinal? And it was summertime, and I'm on Route 80. I'm driving west, and all of a sudden, this 18-wheeler right in front of my car, where I have to jam on my brakes, and Cardinal Trucking.
Same thing. Yeah.
Wow.
You just got it in a different way. Maybe they knew, like, I needed something a little more than the bird, So I almost had, I almost crashed into him. So. Yeah.
Do you do have you ever done, and I'm going to say it because we have the show here for, Paul and I are co-hosting with Mark, the psychic gangster. We changed Mark's name. His name's Mark Eddy, but we changed it to the artist formerly known as Mark. So we put the @ symbol in. So it's MARK, but he really is. We're trying to get him to be like a gangster psychic. Do you ever do readings for people in gallery readings on shows like this at all, or have you done that, or no? You prefer to be in person with people?
When I do the large groups, I love to be in a restaurant where we have 50, 60 people, and they're right there, and we're doing a reading. I usually sometimes work with another medium so we could read the room, be more efficient, cover more people. And I find the restaurant format just really great because they come in, they kind of get their jitters out, their nerves, they eat, they talk, maybe they might have a drink. And then we perform the mediumship. And it's really amazing how all these different people in a room and how all these stories start connecting to different individuals, whether you're in the front row or you're all the way in the back. It's just how these people come back and they bring these stories and their loved ones step forward, and we could cross that bridge. We could bring forth these, stories of healing and evidence to let them know that their loved ones, that light that made them who they were in life, continues. It didn't go out. We just lost the physical, so.
Richard, does the Raggedy Andy doll behind you have anything to do with your research, or is that just happens to be there?
Well, when I investigate the paranormal, especially when I go to investigations that have children, I'll bring items that children would have liked to play with. And that's just a trigger object toy that I use.
Oh, okay.
Why it's on the top shelf is so my kids don't end up playing with it, because this thing has been around with me. It's been to many paranormal locations, so I just keep it up there, and there's a few other little stuff things that I bring with me to paranormal investigations when I try to trigger a response from a child or ask them to step forward to the Raggedy Ann doll. It's no reference to Annabelle and all that stuff that's going on. So,
Well, since you do work with children as well, have you worked with police officers to solve a crime?
there's a few years back, someone reached out about a cold case, and I did a few sketches and I sent it to them. And they sent me a sketch of a suspect that they had in custody, and he matched actually one of the sketches pretty good. And they're like, we know that he's tied to this. We're just trying to figure out, if he'll come forward. But after I sent the sketches, I really haven't heard much more from it. I don't know what happened, what was the outcome, but it was kind of cool to see, the image that I got was someone that they had in custody, that they had tied to what was happening. And that was the only, but I welcome it. If anybody out there would, want to explore that, I love that, because I feel like there is no geography to this. I mean, if you have the ability, you could hone in on things all over the globe. I mean, there's things that come on the news that I kind of get a little nudge for, and I'm like, this is what I'm feeling about it.
Yeah, there are those couple famous sketches that's all we have to go on.
Yeah.
Well, I think DB Cooper, is that one of them? I was thinking of
The sketches of the
yeah.
people
There's a sketch.
of DB Cooper. Yeah, there is a weird sketch of him.
Yeah. In the I believe the Zodiac Killer. I don't think those have ever been solved, but those two sketches came from some maybe an eyewitness. I don't know. Maybe it was the police force was in contact with a psychic, and maybe that's what they were given, and all these years later, that's it.
Yeah.
I don't. I was just kind of throwing out the two examples. I don't think those two cases were solved, but we do have famous examples, and it is interesting to kind of look into that possibility. You know,
Yeah.
you do have other examples of you know, maybe cases were solved. I'm not that familiar with them, and just
Another brute, by the way. Just letting everybody know. Please forgive me.
Yeah.
Keep talking amongst yourselves. I'm
I
just
mean, there's
trying to
times
get
where
the
I'll watch
time down.
news
I'm
and
just trying to get the
right
time
now,
down, Buzz. You know, so I can get a buzz into, because we keep our chat going. So whatever you post here, yeah, it'll be on your permanent record. So you know. But here's something I learned from a psychic that's in New Jersey. I don't know if you know Carl Petrie.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. So Carl's a brother of mine. And Carl's given, you know, we've had many conversations, but he's also done presentations.
Right,
He
right.
said something very interesting, and this is why I got scared. And I want to thank Cisco, who's in this chat, another Jersey, former Jersey person, for helping me out with what took place, where I saw the waitress and I had to warn her, don't take the ride because I saw her dead. And I was with my two daughters at this bar restaurant, and as a father, I wanted to tell her, but I also remember what Carl says, that he doesn't get involved in these cases unless the police come to him and ask him to, because you are the prime suspect once you get involved and say, I'm a psychic medium, there's a body over, you become the suspect for that. And you're going to go to jail. And they don't care, like, you should know these things. But what they don't understand is, as a psychic or a medium or someone intuitive, yes, we do know these things. It's really weird. I mean, I'm sure, Paul, you've been in situations yourself where you just knew something. You just know it.
Yeah.
And you're pretty much right, even though you keep your mouth shut because it looks really funny if you start saying it and you get all the crap. I've already gotten the crap, so people make fun, even family members, and I'm right.
Yeah.
I'm right more than wrong. Do you get involved in police stuff other than, like what Mark was doing? Because you do the sketching thing, and I think, do you get these images of like, oh my God, there's this guy's here, this is what the serial killer looked like?
I only worked with law once. I mean, there's been times though, like watching the news, where a nudge comes in and I'll be like, I feel like they're in water. I see myself kind of off like the highway and I'm in like a swamp and there's water. And at times I see that's where it ends up, so, and then my wife just looks at me like, you're weird, like, yeah. So, there are times like that where I'll like just say like, where like I feel like this is going to end, or where I'm drawn to, or what they're showing me. And I'll make notes. I think you do the same thing when you have visions and stuff. You keep a notebook, you keep a journal. I think that's what somebody who's ever exploring their intuitive abilities should do, is journal and write notes, write dates when you wake up and you have those dreams and they're showing you things that you think could be potentially happening in the future. Date them, because this is the way of our intuitive self just kind of like letting us know that we have this ability, and this happens whether you go to a historical location. I always tell someone in any of my training classes, if you're looking to explore your ability, go to a historical location you know nothing about. Bring a notepad, bring a sketchbook, and just write what comes to you. And then when you're ready, you go ask the docent or the historian there information. Be like, hey, do these names make sense? Go to a place where maybe something happened and see what you get. What names you're able to pull out of it.
And then he's gone. The same thing, it's really weird because I've done this. Here's something that was weird. I did a conference, the Crossing Realms conference, in September, and it was in Missouri. And Missouri, first time in the Midwest, and kind of breathtaking. I realized that Lewis and Clark were out of their freaking minds for doing what they did.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's just insane. Like, we're gonna walk that way, and then we're gonna see what happens. But what was bizarre is when we went to this place, Emmaus, Paul was there. We were there. I was at that place when they were doing a live from that location. And I was sitting there and I'm doing my laundry. This is where it gets weird. I'm back in New York. I'm doing my laundry and I'm watching you guys doing the Emmaus thing, whatever.
We
And
don't need to know if they're naughty
No, they're not.
underwear.
No, I'm a boxer brief guy. I'm just going to tell you straight up.
I have the naughty underwear.
There you go. Paul has the naughty underwear.
Yeah.
That's why they call him Magic Mike. I know. So I start texting Krista. I'm like, yeah, there's something watching you from over in one area and then another area. And she calls me and she goes, something just moved. I said, yeah, right by that tower, the smokestack, there's something over there peeking in on you. And it seems extraterrestrial. There's a cryptid on the other side. And I see this in my mind's eye. I'm holding my bag of laundry, go down and put it in the dryer, 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, whatever it is. And when we got there at the end of the conference, we went there one day, which was fantastic. It was one of the best nights of my life. And it was so much fun hanging out with these guys. But I stopped before we went in and they were like, I think Chris was like, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I saw this in my mind and I'm here now. And it's really weird about that. And I'm going to ask you, Richard, but I'm also going to ask Paul because he's been dragged into places from some psychic people and other people. Do you ever see something in your mind's eye that pops in, like you just said, where you're writing notes? And I think Paul's going to that location, not this Friday, but the next following Friday. Yeah. Maybe you should try to do that and see. Well, you know a little bit too much about it, but maybe you can take some notes and describe some of the things that, see what you get information wise. But this is an interesting concept.
So I was on, I had Bryce Edwards on, who has a farm down in Carbondale, which is real close, about 2 hours away from me. And he was talking about the Bigfoot activity that is on his farm. And he had mentioned, he was talking about a certain location. And for some reason in my head, I kept getting this road. On the right side was like a 20-foot wide patch of wooded area. And then to the left was like a cornfield or something. And, he's telling me the story. And I'm like, okay. He finished talking and I'm like, and I asked him, is this a section of your farm that has this stuff all in it? He said, yeah, exactly like that. And I'm like, I had never been there before. I'm like, how in the world did this?
Oh yeah,
it just came up. It was weird, blew my mind.
Well, and one of his guests was so country. I asked, and it was I think it was your guest, where they're talking about the Bigfoots coming in, and I misconstrued the front of the house or the back of the house, but
yes,
I said that there's a pond on the left-hand side and it opens up to the right and it goes up a little hill because I was getting it. I said, they're in the little hill area that they were doing. And he said, no, we don't have that. Because I said the back of the house, because it kind of like the front and the back kind of look similar.
Yeah. I can't remember his name. It was a couple weeks ago too.
It was really interesting as a guest. So do you get this? Like when you're hanging out with people and all of a sudden, are you picking up certain things from them? Or people or spirits trying to go, you meet somebody for the first time and it's like, oh, Richard, please here. You've got to tell my daughter she's been naughty. Do you get that? And how do you respond to something like that?
There's times where I'll meet somebody and there's stuff that I'm getting like right off the bat. And I'll kindly, if they know what I do, most of the people in my life, they do know what I do. And they ask, hey, is there anybody, and I'll be full, front with them and tell them, this is what I'm getting. This is who's coming through. And I just don't do that at supermarkets or in public places to strangers that I have no idea who they are. And most of the time when I'm in that kind of a situation, I do my best to turn it off, which they do teach you. It's almost a visual thing where you put a closed sign up and you just are closed. And usually when I'm in those situations anyway, I'm dealing with my kids that aren't listening. They're hanging on the shopping cart. So I'm not in that kind of medium mindset where I'm raising my vibration. I'm looking for spirit to lower theirs and make their connection. So that's how in public I pretty much am off. But there are times where I'll be at work and all of a sudden, I'm talking to somebody and they'll start saying, hey, are you picking up anything? Because I kind of, and I'll go in, I'll be like, yeah, I am picking up a mother figure. I see pink and I see her kind of putting her arms around you. I want to talk about mom. And again, then you just let it roll. I don't filter what's coming through. So what mom is sending me, I'm just going to bring that evidence out and talk about. The only time doing mediumship that we do filter should be if it's going to cause the person that we're doing the reading for any trauma. They don't need to relive an accident. You could word things a little better, not being like dad was crushed. There's an unfortunate end. I feel dad passes really quick. There's a little bit of pressure, but he's gone instant. There's ways of talking. I've heard readings from people that go into detail, and it causes such trauma on the person because they relive it all over again, which isn't right. We're doing healing work, so we should cause trauma issues.
So there's an ethics.
Yes, there's, and that's the thing where untrained, unpracticed, and it could cause harm. And you bring a very bad, spotlight on what we're doing if you're not doing it correctly. And the ethics is very important behind it. And the ethics goes right into the supermarket mediums. Oh, lady in aisle 2, dad is next to you. He has his golf clubs. You don't
medium crap. Yeah.
You don't do that. You could kindly, I've seen this done. I haven't done it because it's not my thing, but somebody walks up and they'll hand her a card and be like, the reading is totally free. I'm not trying to sell anything, but if you're interested, I have information. I've heard other friends of mine do that. I wouldn't take it to that level though. If just spirit brings her on my path and prompts her to ask me a question, I would totally tell her, but usually in public, I am off.
Yeah. So I've had a couple of people that are wise asses, with me. Like really, a part of the expression, assholes.
Yeah.
And they know what I do. And then something happens and they really want, they know, but this is who they are as individuals. And we accept certain people for whatever, and so they come and they ask me like, dude, I know I've been giving you crap, whatever, because of what you do. But are you picking up anything with me? And 9 out of 10 times, just to be an obnoxious prick I am, and I love having a joke. Yeah, I'm picking up body odor. Go use deodorant.
Yeah.
And they're like, and I said, no, seriously. Then I'll go tell them. Certain people have the constitution to handle some more detailed information about things. Like one of my brothers, who was the Grand Master. No, he was the Worshipful Grand Master of the state of New Jersey. His dad, who's a wonderful man, died in an car accident, and I can see it all. I can see it all, every bit of it, and he has abilities too. So we have all these private conversations, and this is great. This is Greg Ogles from Relic Films Media. Yes, I won't talk to Pam like that. But I said, he's asked me like, what, do you pick up anything? I said, well, first of all, he's very proud of you, like super proud. I can see him. And he did die instantaneously. It was a horrific accident. He was T-boned. And they said, yeah, well, we thought that. I'm like, but he watched himself. He died, and it was so traumatic. He didn't get a chance to get the ride back initially. So they scrambled to get him, but he watched the scene for a bit before he went. You're right. You can't be the same. I know people that do this. Like you'll be going on like bread and whatever. And like, your father's not happy with what you're doing with you.
Yeah. And it's that left field. It's like, wait, like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Do other psychics pick up on your psychic ability when you go to like some of these? I like to call them like, we have it down here. Like we had a hot balloon festival. So they sell tables to vendors and you get a lot of the gypsies, we'll just say.
Right.
And there's some people that are really talented, but they choose to steal your money or give you BS and like, you need to come with me and meditate for $30,000. Give me the money, and I'm like, no. Do you pick up on those people, and do they pick up on you?
I mean, you could pick up on a medium that really isn't practicing the ethics right off the bat, just on the way they talk, the way that a mediumship reading that you're overhearing is flowing. Sometimes you hear the fishing right off the bat. Yeah, there's a man here. Is there a man that, like, you shouldn't be fishing like that? You should have your contacts. You should have what they look like. I mean, that's what we're taught when you sit through class. But you feel, you hear the fishing. You could feel that energy. You could feel the used car salesman. No, thing against used car salesmen, but you can kind of feel that vibe emanating from these people, where they're preying upon. And there's great people out there. I just always say, trust your gut when you're going into these situations, or you're going to a psychic fair, or, trust your gut when you walk up to that table. Also, sometimes a really reputable medium won't even exchange money until after the reading happens. Are you satisfied? Did I hit on evidence for you? Because that's another thing. Sometimes they're all about ego, and that's a whole nother aspect where they're taking these glam shots of themselves and I'm great, and I'm just, well, you're not anything. You're just a vessel for the spirit world to use to come through. You're the conduit. I always, we give our full credit to spirit for working through us to them.
Right.
And the people that put ego first and that look at me, I'm the Hollywood media, no, because we all have the ability. When you say I have it, none of you have it. We're all from God, right? We're all vessels, that come from the God force. So we all have the tools. We all have the hardware. It's just learning how to use it. So get ego out of here. You're not special. We're not special. We all have the ability, and it's just embracing it, accepting it, and learning. Show up for them.
See, Mark, do you listen to Richard? This is where you're going wrong. Your ego's too big when you're reading.
Yeah. Put on a turban and
oh, it's like that old Karnak thing from Giant Person.
Crystal ball.
I always test psychics. Always. I hide jewelry and put my hand over my watches so they know, whatever I have and whatever. And I'm very still. Not normally very still, but I'm very still. And you can really pick up ones that are really gifted, and you can also see people that are just shysters out the door. I met a psychic at the River Rock off of Route 70 in Jersey, down at the Jersey Shore. She was there on a Wednesday. We were like before the kids went to school. Her name was Shar, and she was giving $20 readings, 15 minutes. So I'm always like, I'm looking for people for shows or whatever. And I went in there and I waited and we sat down, and you have to wow the shit out of me for me to even give you consideration. And she wowed the hell out of me because she started pulling out names and things there's no way in hell she should know. Right? She's not like, I'll be back. I have to use the girls' room. Goes in and starts taking your picture and does like, a search of your face or whatever. But she was really, really good. And I'd love to have more. Paul has Jilly come on, and she's really good at what she does. And I think she's in chat or something like that. I thought she was.
I haven't seen her yet.
But I've also been in situations where, I don't know, I must give off a vibe, but I scared the hell out of some people that trying to pretend to be a psychic. And I'm like, can I get a read? And they're like, no, we're closed. And you can see the panic on their face.
Yeah.
And that's good. I don't want you taking someone's money, because people are looking to you guys and looking for help. It took me a very long time to pay, charge for services for people. 99% of the time I'm helping. And we talk about this, and I want to keep repeating myself. I help people kill themselves. That's I guess that's one of my roles in life, which is, it's kind of nice that I'm doing that, and I'm there for somebody at their worst moment of their life. They're going to do something and I have no problems about doing it. I'd like to do other things other than that. And I do readings, private readings for people. But how many people have you read for that don't listen to what you're telling them? You know, like they're asking you for advice, and you like, you know, this that pardon the French, I don't want to curse, that fucker ain't gonna do shit right now.
I did a reading. It goes back like 4 or 5 months ago, and it was for a friend. And she wanted a reading about what was going on in her life. And we're in my private office. She comes in and she sits down, and I could just feel like anger, tension. And she sits down. I'm like, what's going on? Because there's like a perfect storm of just like bad juju that just came in the door with you. I'm like, did you just get into an argument with your fiance? Because like she goes, yeah, he's upset that I'm here and that that I'm doing a reading, and he wanted me to do something else today with him. And I asked her, I'm like, is there anger like flaring up from him? Because I want to talk about this. Ain't just today. This has been like a pattern, and I'm seeing in my head like a pattern of this red bursts. And she goes, yeah. I'm like, well, there's something going on where we need to talk about him like getting counseling. Have you talked about it? She goes, I talked about it to him like 3 days ago, that we need, like therapy, and he doesn't want to do it. And, we're going to be getting married. And I go, well, and I hate to tell you this, but I'm like, I see like a yellow traffic light. And when I see a traffic light, I use that symbolism from the spirit world and decisions I make. When I see red, I stop. When I see yellow, I slow down on my choices. When I see green, I go. And for her situation, I got that yellow traffic light. I'm like, we need to slow things down. I'm like, even if you need to just put off the wedding just for a little bit of time, you need to work on his anger. And she said right off the bat, she goes, I've been dealing with it for months. And I'm like, and again, how we pick up on things, I'm like, this stems though from the relationship with his father and his father before him. They are just very hard. They're not, he has a lot of things he needs to work through. And I told her, you got to slow down. You got to, and they wound up getting married, and come find out, I just saw her a few days ago, and they're currently in therapy. So I'm hoping that everything works out. But again, this is something where I told her months ago, you gotta slow things down. Because, those are the nudges that we're getting, right? And what the vibes that we're feeling, the energy that they're emanating. So.
And it's, when you have friends that have these abilities and you ask them for advice, and they ask them for readings, it really can get hard. I don't know if Paul, I mean, Julie, and when you ask people for readings, it's like, I know this is your time, and this is for some people how they make their money. But you kind of don't want to impose. I mean, maybe that's just me. I know some other people don't care. Right. They're like, tell me about this.
Right. She's always actually offering to do it. I mean, and then she's always giving away stuff. So, I mean, I don't know as long as she's offering to do it, I mean, people love getting those readings on the show. So I think that's pretty darn cool. One that, and I've asked her this too. She's also a Red Sox fan. So, there's two that I like. So I
love the Red Sox.
So do I, actually.
Really, Brian?
I was born in the Bronx, and my father's uncle was best friends with Babe Ruth. He has a ball signed by Murderers Row, but I was a Yastrzemski fan, and the Red Sox.
Mark, so how are things going with you, buddy? We haven't. Who do you like? Are you a Red Sox fan too?
Yeah.
Please don't say you're a Cub fan.
I'm gonna be rooting for. To be honest, I'm now for me now.
I like a lot of the sports teams from Pittsburgh.
Okay.
All right.
Up that way, about 60 miles.
Cool.
I think the Stillers have great legacy over the last 50 years. hard to top. And didn't grow up liking them, but as I've gotten older, I just really appreciate their legacy.
That definitely works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Greg's messing with Jilly right now, so
When you're growing up in the 70s and you're a Cowboys fan, the Steelers are your least favorite team, but due to the way Tom Landry was dismissed,
Yeah.
I became an instant Steelers fan. But there's really even when during the 70s, seeing Mike Webster playing in all the 33 degrees, it's pouring down rain, and he's out there with short sleeve shirts on.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, insane.
Yeah, he
Insane.
even our high school had Larry Brown as a speaker one day. I think there was something happened where Terry Bradshaw was injured or something. It was like the week prior to Larry's speech to our school, or talk to the school. And he even so someone asked him, so if Terry is is out this week, who's the best player to run the offense? And Larry said it's Mike Webster. He knows what everyone's supposed to be doing. Very very offensive minded person. Larry's just talking about how he admired him, and instead of spending all of his like all the time in the weight room, pump and iron, he was running like the top deck of Three Rivers Stadium, just running up and down the steps all around
That's insane.
yeah. So that when you have those opportunities to hear about teammates, maybe really learn a lot of respect.
Right.
Even though at the time they weren't your favorite team, but they eventually became my favorite team. So okay, I'm done.
You know what would be interesting to do is do an investigation at like Fenway Park or even Wrigley. Yeah,
Ooh,
I mean all of the Lambeau Field, all of the history on these fields
The
and
energy just
yeah.
gets there,
Oh yeah.
the excitement, the loss, the players that spent their lives playing there. Like, I love the history of baseball, and I try to teach that to my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And just this past year, I wanted to buy a Ted Williams autographed baseball bat. And I have a ton of Red Sox signatures, but Ted Williams is the height. I love Ted Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I said to Spirit, there was a bat that I saw, and I said, listen, if it's meant for me to buy this bat, you need to give me a sign, just like the Cardinal truck that almost hit me. I need a sign, right?
Yeah.
So I work in a medical building, and I'm usually the first one there. So I'm walking through one of the waiting rooms, and I'm getting into my office, and on a coffee table right by the door that I go into, an autobiography of Ted Williams is laying there in the morning. I looked at it, came home, and I said, hon, we got to buy the bat. And she looked at me. She's like, okay, but this is your birthday and Christmas present. So
Yeah, it gets expensive, but
Yeah, it
you know,
does.
it's kind of, I was going to ask you, like, how does your, you know, how does the other half deal with that? Like, you know, hey, got a sign today. I'm like, oh crap.
yeah, well, you know, she's very accepting of that because she knows like my passion for, you know, these, you know, players, and it's an investment for my kids to hold on to. And
That's a real solid investment on that one. I got one for you. Because my father was paparazzi too. He sold the photos that pretty much destroyed Bill Clinton. Yay! He sold Jennifer Flowers to the
Little
star
Willie.
that was his client. He also did Joe DiMaggio's book, and he has Joe DiMaggio. You know that famous shot of him hitting.
yeah.
Yeah, he has that signed, and he has one signed. And Joe, I don't know how they got it signed. Him and Marilyn.
Wow.
And
Wow.
he signed it.
That's very
And then, yeah, I met, you know, through him, I met Nick Utt, who did there's a famous napalm little girl naked running, burning napalm.
Mhm.
And I met the photographer. His name is Nick Utt. He, I think, passed away a couple, almost a year ago. And then I also met Joe Rosenthal, who was the photographer that took the famous picture of the flag and Iwo Jima. So I have
Wow.
those. But yeah, I mean, I was able to meet
Nice.
these people, and my dad used to go up to him. He wasn't shy about it, you know. And my dad looked like Pavarotti, or if you watch Naked Gun series, Enrico Palazzo, you know, just like whatever it is. But when you get those moments to get it, it's great that we can use these. Like, I needed a sign, I got a sign. You know, we need to buy that Lambo. You know, like, you know, let's see if I can use that.
well, there's
on-
some limitations, at least for us. You know, I can't be like, hey, I need to buy a brand new car tomorrow. You know, wait, you got to put, you know, the brakes on it. But
Yeah, slow it down, folks.
yeah.
It's just interesting how you get you know things before things are happening, and that's like someone in here, I forgot who it was, who said it's a blessing and a curse.
It does. And I'm going through it right now with my mother.
Oh.
I, you know, saw her, and this goes back like 3 years ago, and she looks like an old lady, and I see her in a chair in one of our cancer chairs in the hospital that I work at. And
Right.
she's on the third floor. I could see because the wallpaper is all yellow, and she's on the chair, and she just looks so much older than she did then. And I'm like, whoa, what's like going on? I woke up, it was unsettling. And fast forward to just a year ago, she woke up and she has bladder cancer. She was passing blood. So she went to the cancer center. Guess what floor she's on? The third floor, and you know, the yellow wallpaper. So there was that. And then I had more nudges. I'm like, this isn't the end. I'm like, you know, there's a whole nother bout where I see her looking even a little more older. And right now she has a heart issue. Her valve is leaking. So she's dealing with heart issues on top of it, and she's looking more and more like she did in the dreams that I have had. So it's kind of like seeing this back then and just knowing that this was kind of coming.
Mhm.
But even for somebody who does this, it's still emotional. It's still real, you know, because it's we were hoping that we got it wrong, you know, and that's at least for me. Like I was hoping that what I was seeing, maybe I might have got this one wrong, and it's just not so. And
No.
I feel her loved ones getting closer.
Yeah.
I feel my grandfather very much like around, and I don't talk to her much about this because it scares her, you know, especially going through and knowing that this could potentially be the end of life. And I feel that they start pulling close. And she's starting to say, you know, like, oh, she's talking about things that she did as a kid, and she's talking about her mother.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh God.
You're starting to get all the reflection. And I feel like a life like review sometimes doesn't happen at the moment of passing. I feel like it kind of like we start going through it as we're getting closer. It's us just getting our things just organized, and I've seen that with other people that I've lost, where the life review sometimes even starts while they're still here, and they start talking about things they did as kids and memories, and you know, it just carries them in. So we're taking it day by day with her. This is, just something that's a part of our life. Doing this work, we know that death is just as important
Part
as
of life.
life.
Yeah.
It's yeah, I mean,
Well,
you're going to eventually pass away, and it's just, you hear things like, I don't. I'll sorry for interrupting, Paul.
Very good.
And like my dad was saying he smelt the bread that his mom used to make, and I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah.
and I'm like, your dad's not going to be around much longer, and I'm trying to break it to individuals. I'm saying, you may want to stay with your dad for a bit because you may not have much more times with them or whatever. You just know certain things, and you're like, oh, I was always the Behringer of death, like, so and so died, or I'd be going out of the house and like, how's uncle, whatever, and my mother would be like, what are you talking about? He's fine. And then the phone would ring, and I'm like, oh crap, and like, oh.
Their loved ones come close, though. And
Yep.
I tell you, nobody dies alone. Nobody dies alone because even my grandfather, I work in a hospital, so I could jump into a room when they're there, and he was, slowly starting to fade away. And he was still talking. I go, Pop, what's the man in the flannel who's holding a turtle? I'm like, it's weird, but he's in flannel and he's holding a turtle. He goes, the turtle was my pet tiny turtle. And when I lived in Hoboken, he's like, I had this little turtle. I'm like, well, who's the man in the plaid? And he goes, that's my Uncle Lester. He always wore the plaid shirt. And I'm like, oh, well, he's here with your turtle. And he was like, oh, good, and he was in and out of consciousness then. But I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, the turtle with Uncle Lester. I'm like, it's
What-
full circle.
what do people at the hospital think if we're doing this kind of treatment? And you're like, this guy is on his way out within the next couple days. Is there like a conflict in that, or like you aren't really mixing?
Well, I'm really lucky that I work in the mailroom. I'm the supervisor of the mailroom, so I'm not doing anything with patient contact.
Okay.
The employees, though, know what I do, and usually on lunch hours, I get like a knock on the door, and hey, can I get like a 10-minute reading, or so it's a whole television show that they could have. Like I'm doing messages from the mail and messages from spirit, all in the But I don't do anything with patients. I mean,
Okay.
yeah. So
Do you see death? Do you see figures coming? Can you see figures coming and going, and it's going to happen?
yeah, I see a lot of shadows, and those nudges that we get, those knowings, where somebody feels like their life force is just bustling, and then there's times where you feel life starting to just their life force start fading, and that's just in passing sometimes when you could feel that they're starting to let go, and at times you don't even have to be in that intuitive to know it. You could see it in their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a different look that people start getting as they start shedding this body, right, and graduating from earth school and becoming more of that spiritual vessel. That you can kind of see that they're starting to let go of the material world.
It's hard enough for the average person to go through that with a loved one, but with those kind of abilities, that's got to be just excruciating going through that, seeing what you guys see with your loved ones going through that.
Yeah, it's just a part, I think, of life, and I think as we grow and we learn about how this stuff works, it's just a part of it. It's something that we can't separate. It's just a part of it. So is it a blessing or a curse? I mean, it prepares you. I think it does give you that knowing that, is she going to be okay? Well, no, it's not really going to turn out the way that we are hoping for, but
Right.
it just lets you prepare and lets you kind of help the ones around prepare.
Yeah, I mean, if I get something, I usually try to tell them, like, you may want to spend more time with them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
and what's interesting? Oh, werewolf's here. Oh, sorry, I had to do
Yeah,
that.
werewolf.
Hey, werewolf.
With a Chinese menu in his hand.
with a Chinese menu in his hand. Yeah, exactly. Um,
A little Warren Zevon, you know?
There
Yeah.
you go.
I remember my mom passing away, and my brothers brought their kids down to see my mother, and it was like she was not someone you wanted to see when, it was just not a good look.
Mhm.
And I wasn't doing that to my daughters. And my mother and I I saved her life several times, really saved her life. So in the honor thy mother and father category, I've done it.
Mhm.
And things where there was contention there, whatever it was. I was just being me. It just, she went to my older and younger brother, and it's just was a mess family wise. But I remember being there, and I went in, and my brother's like, "Where are your kids?" And I'm like, "I'm not putting them through this shit. What are you, out of your mind? The psychology bill alone is going to kill me." Because my nieces and nephews looked horrific.
Yeah.
Like, well, it was horrifying. I'm like, why would you do this to your kids? Yeah, that's your mom. Let them remember grandma, grandpa as, happy smile, whatever they remember. Not this, individual grasping for air. It's not a good look. So I went up to my mother, and she turned her head to me. I was on the left side of the bed, because I've tried over and over and over again with them and telling her, you need to go do something about this, get yourself in shape, lose some weight, do something. And for whatever reason, she never did it. So I went over to her, and I didn't really have much to say to her. And I said, it didn't have to be this way. And she immediately turned her head away from me. And then I said, no, I'll tell you guys straight up, I don't pull punches or hide or whatever. I said, good luck. You're going to need it where you're going.
Yeah.
Wow.
And let me tell you, she's not in a good place right now. And it's not necessarily like fire and brimstone, folks. Hell does not have to be fire and brimstone. Hell has to be, if you've ever I can't disappoint my father, and how that would kill you if you did, or your mother or whatever. That's what hell is for you. That's what your torture is. You're disappointing them, and they know it, and you know it. And you got to go through that until they give you the permission to come back, maybe try it again. But some people never learn, and it's just weird when you know it. I've had people ask me for things, and I'm like, please don't ask me. I know things are bad, and I don't want to be the guy anymore. I want good, I want happy news. Like Paul got season tickets to St. Louis, wherever he wants them. Mark won the lottery in West Virginia. I want good stuff, and I don't want the bad stuff anymore.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy. Hey, Gary Carpenter, welcome. Paul, other questions, observations? I don't want to keep. We're getting close to the time where we're wrapping up. We do have a question, actually, if I can run it if you're thinking of some questions.
Go ahead.
I have one too.
Cool.
Yeah. Listen, you may have to go to your room and think about what you've done.
Actually, I do have one that's kind of painful for me to
Go ahead.
ask, so I don't know if I want to ask it or not. So go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Richard, in your Hudson Valley book, was there a wave of UFOs that Whitley was part of, and John Lennon saw? Was that, or are we talking like a different?
No, that would be the one in the 1980s, the 80s wave, where
or is that two different time periods, or the same one?
same time period. It spanned over a couple of years where people were seeing these all in the Pine Bush area, all over that section of the Hudson Valley, where Route 84 runs. People were on a highway and sort of craft the size of a football field, hovering above their car. I mean, mass sightings. And then you have Whitley with his sighting in his cabin. That's a continuous with his contact with the visitors that he chronicled in all of his books. And Lennon in New York City. There was even a sighting in New Jersey, I believe in Hudson County, where a man saw a craft just hovering above a baseball field. Two beings get out and take soil samples and get back into the craft and leave. And when it left, it blew out windows in one of these high-rise buildings, and they actually had damage.
Yeah.
So, all this stuff in that 80s time span, and then it just kind of died down a little bit.
What if the aliens are taking soil samples? Is there a reason why the Hudson Valley was chosen for a flight path? Is it the north to south passage?
You can speculate. I mean, it could be the high iron that's in the ground, the components that are the quartz, the iron. I mean, there's Iron Mountain, where the government actually has files that are hidden in the earth in a bunker where they use the ground itself. There's the quartz that Brian said, but the area itself could have a more older connection if you go through the stone chambers that are spread throughout the Hudson Valley that they say are root cellars to the settlers. Well, you know what? They mark calendar positions of the sun, equinoxes. I mean, this is stuff that's in the woods that are just structures that are just left there that mark these calendar periods.
No.
I don't think they're root cellars. Then you get into the Hudson River itself, and there's a gigantic wall that goes out into the Hudson River that predates Christopher Columbus. There's things there that indicate an ancient way of communicating, maybe with something from up above, and marking these places with these balancing boulders. There's boulders that are these tripod rocks that are marking these areas that have high these magnetic fields are just huge, where you go there with your K2 meter and they're going off the charts. I mean, it just gets me so excited when you can look at all this historical stuff that you can still go there and touch. You could walk to one of these chambers. You could see these balancing rocks. And don't tell me they're a glacier erratic, that just these giant boulders were backing up and just placed these at different points throughout the Hudson Valley. I mean, there's like 9 of them, if I can count some that are even in New Jersey here, where there's balancing rocks.
Yeah, they are. And this is really crazy because I just had this same conversation about the Hudson Valley because I was asked about it and some other things. And he talks about stone chambers. I was a guest on Bob Brown's show out of nowhere in the UK. And I personally think part of the Hudson Valley, they were actually looking or tracking something because the movement of where it is, if you follow the movement, it was going in a specific direction. And I think they were looking for something. Now, another problem we have, and I don't know if Richard is, you're probably aware of it, up in upstate New York and along that corridor, there are supposed deep underground bases and areas. People have seen the ground open up and things come out of it. Right. So, because I got to be honest, no one wants to go upstate New York. Like anything left of Albany is just mutant land, in general. So the military uses it in some black budget projects. It's really interesting to find out that every time I used to take Metro North, which is a private commuter train, into the city, I would pass the building where they created the Manhattan Project. Mm-hmm. And it was right in front of your face. So a lot of these UFOs were traveling, looking for something, and there were a variety of different craft in that whole flap. You were talking about that one that was hovering over a field. If you went up the Taconic Park, the Taconic Park, just before it becomes the Sprain Brook.
Yeah.
At Valhalla is a big medical center, and a nurse came out of that medical center and looked up, and there was a mile-long cylinder craft hovering over the facility.
Yeah.
And that would be a place also because of their security at that area, dude, prisons and stuff, that if you had something, you would take it to it and you would put it in that hospital because it's also a teaching hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I mean, some people have seen these crafts sucking up water. where they were taking water. So they're interested in our, dirt. They're interested in our water. So there's things that they're interested in, perhaps maybe for something that they're doing, for maybe something they're working on. I mean, who could speculate? But they're taking soil samples. They're showing interest in our resources, and I think that is something that is a common thread in a lot of these things, and a lot of these sightings. And credible people, police officers, firemen, nurses. I mean, these are people that have reported this stuff during that flap. And the Hudson Valley today still has their residents that are coming out with these fantastical stories of things that are quite credible. When you're sitting across from somebody at, the Pine Bush Diner, and I'm sitting there and we're having an interview, and they're trembling when they're hashing this event that happened. That there's real trauma there. They're not getting paid for the interview. They're asking for only a first name to be used. That something had to happen to cause this PTSD that is exhibiting itself as you're sitting across from them. Yeah. And it's just a real amazing thing when you could present these facts to people and say, this is a credible person here with this fantastical event that happened to them. And it mirrors Strieber. It mirrors the events that happened to you, Brian. I mean, in the area.
Yeah, and in upstate that area, we had a woman because we used to go to Red Hook, New York, up by the Culinary Institute, really high up, and do a live meetup for people, grassroots, free, no judgment, no nothing. And what I did was I created these large graphic posters. I created an 8-foot tall gray and an 8-foot reptilian, and it unrolls 8 feet. So I would hang it there, kind of give you a little more for the group. And we have one woman that they came in, we were very friendly with. She finally came and she stood outside the door and she was kind of pacing. She saw that. She got the courage to eventually come in after about 15 minutes. And we're like, hey, what's going on? Are you okay? She goes, I don't like that. I don't like that. And I said, don't worry, I'll take it down right now. And I took it down and she calmed down because her child would come to her and say, Mom, I love you, but you're not my real mom. And then draw pictures of, she'd say, well, what's your real parents? And they were reptilians. And it went so far, they said, well, Mom, they're here, they're everywhere here. And there was a new community built in, I forgot exactly where it is, and I'm trying to keep that a little bit more private for her own being. But the new community wasn't gated. But when she would drop, some of her son's friends lived in there, and she swears to this, she would go by homes and the doors are open and they would be full-blood reptilian right there at the door.
Wow.
And then when they would get noticed, they'd shape shift. That's pretty damn intense. But I know the diner you were talking about, the Cup and Saucer. And
the Cup and Saucer. When you're in Pine Bush, you got to stop at the Cup and Saucer.
Yeah. Paul, you said you had a question also, so I don't know if you want to do it.
I forgot it. I didn't write it down.
No, come on.
I forgot it. No.
Go on Paul's Paranormal Among Us, and then Paul will have a question. Or you can wait till after the song's over at the end of the show, and then you can ask him privately.
It was about the Red Sox, so it's
okay.
Well, it could be a good question.
No, it wasn't. For him, it might have been, but not for me.
We did have a question.
I predict no World Series this year for the Red Sox.
Oh yeah, same here.
What about the Cardinals?
No, they're not even going to be close.
The Cardinals aren't even going to be close?
No, they'll be in last
I have no
place.
idea.
Yeah.
Didn't why would you say that?
They're in a rebuild, and they're.
Did you see Moneyball?
Yeah, not these guys. Yeah. We got a bunch of minor leaguers up here playing.
I know. I'm a Ranger fan. I know all about rebuilding.
Gotcha.
The best thing I saw out of the Rangers this year was Vincent Trocheck, after winning the gold, telling his wife, "I'm getting fucked up tonight," which was a great sign. But we do have a question from one of our friends who is psychic, Michelle, medium, Brandenburg. Question: how does this occur? 2 people smell the smoke of deceased person. One person has open abilities. The other has no known open abilities. Are abilities openings or something else?
I feel that they're openings. I feel that they're a way that spirit is choosing to communicate with you through your senses that we all have. We have these intuitive senses, and they're trying their damnedest to get through to you. And if that's what they're going to use is the sense of smell, why not use the smell of smoke that dad would have smelled like, or,
Right.
perfume that links mom to you? And they could be in more places than one. It's not their physical no more. A lot of loved ones and children, especially when their parents pass, dad visited the three kids at the same time and they knew that dad passed. Same thing with this. When you smell, they could be in more places than one. They're not limited by physical.
Yeah, it's we're joking around. It's gas. If you smell smoke, it's gas. You know, um, there is. I know somebody has a family member that is a jokester.
It was
And-
something
and
else
they
that they were
do-
talking about, Brian.
Yeah, no, I know what they were talking about. Well,
Okay,
whatever,
good.
but no. But I know a family member that I know a family that has a member of the family, total jokester, was a jokester. I met him initially, and they do stupid. They do jokey things. They'll make jokey sounds and as ghosts.
Yeah.
Like this is and they're like, it's got to be Uncle blah 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 or whatever. I forgot his name.
Yeah, you take your personality with you. Like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the thing.
Mhm.
You're not playing
Oh,
a
yeah.
harp on the other side. If dad was like crude or like you take that with you. That don't change. You're not you're not on the cloud with the harp. So it's if they were funny in life, they're funny in the afterlife.
Yeah. And it's really interesting. When I see my father, I see him in different forms. When I see other people, I see them in the form they want to present it to me. Kind of hard to explain,
I heard
but
that, Michelle.
my dad goes back and forth between his army days when he was the thinnest he ever was, and he has a certain look about him. But when I see him, I can see him, and then he morphs into my father because I can see him both. So I
Yeah.
guess he's presenting himself to others as that's the image he wants to present himself with, which is interesting because some people have said to me, well, a lot of times they'll present themselves the way they want to present themselves to certain individuals and present others differently. It's just insane when these things happen. I mean, I didn't go to, where did you go to this school? Because is the University of Paranormal or
The Journey
How-
Within, they're a metaphysical church here in northern New Jersey. They have classes that you can take that run the gamut of all these different aspects of communication with the spirit world. You could learn about chakra work. There's other metaphysical and groups that you can join where you could practice your mediumship. You could sit in circles, and a mediumship circle you could do on Zoom where there's people on the entry level that are trying to learn mediumship, and usually a medium sits in that's experienced and teaches you how to do readings. There's breakout rooms that they'll put you and someone in, and you'll read each other, and you'll be really surprised on how the information you start getting resonates with the person that you're in the room with. And it starts giving you that confidence. And I think that's what everybody who's doing this kind of needs, is those little boosts where you're like, wow, I picked up a name, I picked up a location, and they encourage that. They let you grow. But most of all is while you're learning this is they teach the ethics. So spiritualist churches, the metaphysical churches where they embrace this, they offer programs, and it's not expensive. Some of these mediumship circles, it's $20 a week to sit in, and you get an hour and a half to a 2-hour class, and you learn different aspects of mediumship. And it's taught by people that have been doing this for years. Arthur Findlay College in England, you can take classes with them on Zoom. And again, it's an esteemed college that teaches many aspects from chakras to afterlife communication, mediumship work. Spirit art. There's many professors that have been doing this work for years that are teaching these classes. So I encourage anybody, if you're interested, start exploring, start diving into this.
Well, this is kind of like hard Hogwarts in real life,
Yeah.
to be honest. But just so everybody knows, one more time, Richard is a multiple author of wonderful books through Beyond the Fray Publishing. They're available on Amazon as well. Links to Richard's stuff is definitely it's in the description of the show, but it's also at, let's put this on the screen if we can get this to the stage, if they let me do it. Nope, they won't. Here we go. This is richardmoschella.com. His website. Can they book a reading through that and do all the
Yes.
more information on you on your website?
Yep, that has everything. You could book a reading, you could do in person, you could do Zoom appointments. I even have a link to the Amazon store so you could buy the books and you find out all the latest stuff that I'm doing, all of the events that are coming up and past podcast episodes. So check it out.
That's awesome. Also has the pictures that you drew that were spirits that came through that look so much like the actual person. So
you gotta go to the spirit
art.
I can't remember where that
art. Let's just take a quick. It's just you gotta go peruse it because I'm trying to get to like that. There you go.
I mean, wow.
And again, it's capturing the essence of the communicator and what they looked like. And again, I don't see any of those pictures until after I do the readings.
And what's interesting is it doesn't have to be a Picasso or a fine artist. It does captures them. There is very familiar aspects of the drawing with the actual image. So some people just get crazy. Like, well, it's not really accurate. I'm like, give me a break. Move on. Go pick a finger. Yeah. And I just, there was something here. Question was, can you smell spirits after they have left? Does the smell linger? Not, I mean, the only thing I smell is if they wore perfume or cigars, or there's something about them that was associated with them. You'll smell it. You'll get that whiff of it. If they hang out, like I think my grandmother's visited me and she liked some rose or whatever that is a rose perfume. It drove me nuts. I'm not a big fan of it, but it would come in certain spots and I'm like, okay, she's here. And I know my house is not clean enough for my grandmother. I mean, she's probably like, at all. You know what it's like. You know, it's your mom or whatever. It's like she was my mother for the most part. And
did you hear a vacuum turn on in the middle of the night?
No. She was old school. She literally would get on the floor and scrub her floor.
Wow.
Oh my
God. When I tell you, you could eat off the floor of this woman's house, it's not a joke.
That's crazy.
Wow. Yeah. So it's you know it's I miss her, you know, and loved every moment of it. And she came through at a table tipping session in Gettysburg.
Wow.
That I was at. My mother did because she wanted forgiveness. And like, good luck. Go fix what you broke, and then we'll consider it. God forgives. It's just my thing. And everybody's like, well, you really should. I'm like, you weren't on the receiving end of it. That's a totally different thing. She has the option right now to fix things. Let her go fix it, and then we'll work on something. My grandmother would come through, and I said, I miss you too. I love you. But we're here for somebody else right now. Let them connect. And she'd go away. You know, I can see her. You know, if they want to come and visit, they can visit, but it's not a problem. I can't thank you enough. I can't thank two of you, gentlemen, and three, for being on the show today in the broadcast.
I thoroughly enjoyed this, Richard. I great meeting you, and this is just a fantastic show. I've learned so much, and it's just fascinating.
Hopefully, we get to do this again.
Yes.
I really enjoyed myself, guys. Thank you.
Yeah. And I love the fact that Paul was literally sitting back in his chair going, this is fucking awesome. I got a show out of this. And this, and you know,
didn't have to look for a gas.
That's my ass. And he got something from Fades. Oh, you got a new member. Look at this.
I got Werewolf. Thank you.
YouTube member. And then this guy said, great show.
Some Brian Bow. How do you pronounce his last name?
Brian Bowen and Mickey, you know, came in.
Thank you, guys.
Chats. And I think there was one from Fades as well.
Yeah.
Bigfoot Fades, which is great. But I do appreciate you guys both being here. And anytime we can help out, I always appreciate Mark Eddy. sometimes we have to calm him down. Gets too excited. But I love Mark, and we do some strange things. I don't know who we have next coming on, but if you want to contact Richard, I think the website would be the best way.
Yes.
Or a live event, actually, when you do it you're usually pretty much in Jersey, sometimes Philly, if I'm correct.
Well, the tri-state area.
Definitely go out and check him out, because he's a really one hell of a great human being, and he does really, really good work. And hopefully this summer, if I get back up to New York, because I have to do certain things.
We gotta hang out, Brian.
Oh, we're definitely gonna hang out. I don't know what we're gonna do.
I need to meet you in person.
Definitely.
Might be in different rooms, but you'll hang out.
Yeah.
Call my lawyer. No. Right now, I'm trying to. I knew it was going to happen. My car had another problem, so now we got 1-800-Lemon Law on the line, and they're going to be taking my case. And so hopefully, I predict something good's going to happen for me on that end. And remember, March 7th, Emmaus. Go get your tickets. It is a fundraiser for Adam Whited, whose family, they lost everything December 1st. The fire, this was supposed to happen for him. They're doing it Saturday, December 7th. March 7th. Sorry about that.
Yeah. And I believe there's still a GoFundMe page link for him. I'm not entirely sure, but if they do, I'll have it out someplace, or I'll get it to Brian. We can share that.
Yeah, and I had it at one point, and I think I have it I'm on Awake Nation every Thursday from 9 to whatever, but I think I have a GoFundMe for him in here, and I just can't get to it right off the bat. But it is a great cause.
Yes.
He's a really, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet in your life. Him and his brother are really
Pam
sweet.
Pam just put it on the chat.
Thank you, Pam. Pam is on it.
One of my awesome moderators.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm looking and looking. There we go. I used to have it pinned up. I'm going to still pin it up. And you can support Adam and his family. And talk about a location I'd love to investigate, that whole area where Adam and his family are, because they came on fire after fire after fire, Richard.
I'll be down there on his property in March sometime.
Oh, you better bring some fucking salt.
I'm going to be they're putting me out as Bigfoot bait, so I might not make it back. So who knows?
Yeah, Bigfoot bait. Well, hold on, we're going to put a
Bigfoot. There he is.
Oh wow,
there he goes. That is awesome. That's great.
My God, imagine seeing that in the middle of the night.
You better be good, or he's going to come alive and come in.
Yeah, you've had that hidden for the last 2 hours. I didn't even realize it was there.
Yeah, he stands guard.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. I actually picked up my daughter in the same outfit from middle school. I'm like, hey, honey, that's what you do with the dad. Everybody have a blessed day. And like we always end it. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be able to do this. And we do appreciate you. Lots of love and light. Prayers, healing, recovery, blessings for everybody that's going through something in their families. Be nice and kind to each other. Meditate at least 10 minutes a day. It'll prevent you from needing lawyers. And we're going to end with the song. So thank you again. Blessings. See you next Wednesday. Bye.
Good night, everybody. Peanut butter.
Good night.
You, it's always been you. God showed me you. I have been searching decades for you. I found you, I lost you. My heart is broken without you. My soul aches for you. I need you, I want you. My days are filled with you. I've seen the future with you. My home is with you. I have felt the future with you. My nights are filled with you. Love is you. True love is you. My happiness is you. Every past life is with you. My dreams are filled with you. Life is meaningless without you. My future is with you. I will fight for you. I will defend you. I would give up my life for you. Whatever it takes for you. Nothing else matters but you. I love you. I love you. I love you. God showed me you. I have been searching decades for you. I found you, I lost you. My heart is broken without you. My soul aches for you. I need you, I want you. My days are filled with you. I have seen the future with you. My home is with you. I have felt the future with you. My nights are filled with you. Love is you, true love is you. Love is you, true love is you. My happiness is you. Every past life is with you. My dreams are filled with you. Life is meaningless without you. My future is with you. I will fight for you. I will defend you. I would give up my life for you. Whatever it takes for you. Nothing else matters but you. I love you. I love you. Life is meaningless without you. My future is with you.